Well, hello everybody. Stanton here again with another little tutorial for you. Today we're going to be building a little simple React application. We're going to be building upon the framework that we built up with the first video, or at least expanding on some of those ideas. So I hope you enjoy. Let's jump right in. Alright, here we are back in VS Code, our favorite IDE. Let's go ahead and we'll make a new folder. We'll call our folder Project 2. Or you call it whatever you wish. And then we can just take our new folder and we'll just drag it right into VS Code to start our new project. Let's go ahead and open up our terminal and we're going to do npx create react app, and we'll tell it the name of project 2, and we'll get that installed. This is going to install all the React app dependencies for us, and depending on your machine, this could take a little while to install. You will also need Node.js to install this package. If you're not familiar with Node.js or don't already have it installed, just give it a quick Google search. It'll be the first thing that pops up. It's pretty painless. And once you have your React package installed, go ahead and cd into project 2, and then we can go ahead and start looking through. You can do an npm run start, or you can do a yarn start, whichever you prefer. And this will spin up our little test server for us so that we can see what we've got. And React will have given us a bunch of little stuff right out of the box. You can see we've got a nice little animated logo, and we've got a couple things happening here, but we're going to get rid of all of that, and we're going to start from scratch. So we'll go to our source folder. We're going to get rid of the app.css, the app.test.js, the logo, the web vitals, and the setup. Go ahead and trash all of those. We don't need them. Then we'll go to our index.js file. We will get rid of the web vitals, and we will get rid of the import as well. And we can go to our app.js. We can get rid of both of our imports. We don't need those. And we can get rid of everything but our first div. And we'll just clear out the classes as well, just so that we're restarting completely from scratch. And of course, we'll do a hello world. And if we fire up our server, take a look, you can see we've reset everything. We've got our hello world in there. We're looking good. Now we can start thinking about the layout of our HTML. We'll just get some real basic HTML tags going. We'll do a nav, we'll do a main section, and we'll do a footer. Kind of just your basic layout. We do need a wrapper though, so we'll do our div container. We'll put in the class of parent. This will kind of set our initial wrapper. Then we'll do our nav bar, and we'll put a couple links in here. Do a home. Make sure you put some placeholder hrefs just so the compiler doesn't yell at us. And then we'll do an about page. And last but not least, we'll do a contact page. Great. Now let's get our main section set up. So we'll do a tag of section. And we'll just whack our hello world into our section, just so that we've got something in there to look at. And last, we'll whack down a footer as well. And I think we'll put a little bit of branding in our footer. Always good to have some branding in your projects. And if we give it a save and take a look, you can see we're starting to come together. We've got our elements in place. Now it's just time to style them up. Let me get my windows situated here so that we can have a nice side by side. That way I'm not blinding everybody as we're switching back and forth between screens as my OCD kicks in. Excuse me. Perfect. Looking good. Alright, let's hop on over to our style sheet, and here you can see React gave us some boilerplate elements here that we'll leave them. They're fine. They're just kind of resetting some stuff for us, but we're also going to go ahead and just for our own peace of mind, we'll also throw some resets of our own in. We'll do a box sizing of border box, and we'll do a margin of 0 as always. Next, let's start thinking about our parent class. Remember, this is going to be our wrapper. This is what's going to kind of set the stage for our entire layout. So we're going to want to display a flex. Then we're going to want to do a flex direction on this, and the direction we're going to want to go is column. Next, we'll justify the content to the center. Oops, justify content center. There we go. And of course, we will also align the items to the center as well. Perfect. Next, we got our nav class. Excuse me, nav tag. It's not a class, it's tag. Let's hop back up here. Let's also get rid of these text decorations in our links too. These always drive me nuts and I always forget to do them. So we'll do text decoration of none and color black. There we go. Quick little reset. Now let's worry about our nav tag. So we can do a nav and we'll do display flex. And then this time we're going to do a flex direction of row. That way we go horizontally instead of vertically. Then we can justify the content to be spaced between or space evenly, whichever you prefer. I think space evenly looks a little nicer for this type of nav bar. And as always, we will align the items to the center. Perfect. Now we're not going to see much change yet because we still need to do some height. So we'll do height of 100 vertical height or VH on our parent container. There we go. Now we're starting to see some changes happening. We'll also whack a width down of 100%, 100 VW or vertical width, just so that we know our parent container is taking up the entirety of our screen. Now let's start to think about our section. What do we want to do here? Of course, we want to do a display of flex. We'll also want to do a flex direction. Which way? We'll probably do column on this. Then we can do a justify content to the center. And again, we will align the items to the center as well. Fantastic. Now instead of doing justify content center on our parent, let's do a space between. And this is going to make sure, there you go, this will make sure that we're taking up the entirety of the page and giving us more of the layout we're looking for. And then on our nav bar, we can do a width of 80% here, or 100%. Let's do 80%. And you can see that's going to space them out for us because we didn't have our width set already. Similar to how we have to do the height when we're doing columns, we have to do widths when we're doing rows. But instead of doing 80% here, because we're going to want all of our nav and our section and our footer to be the same width, so we can say nav, section, and footer, and then we can do a width of 80% on all three of these, just so that we know the three of them are always going to be the same width. And that's going to break our footer, but that's only because we haven't actually defined the flex yet for our footer. But once we do, it should look perfect. In our nav, let's go ahead and do a margin top of 1em, just to give us some breathing room. There we go. Now we can jump down to our footer. And as always, we'll do a display of flex. We'll do a flex direction of column. And we'll do a justify content center. There we go. And align items to the center as well. There we go. Now we're looking good. And we're just like we did with the nav bar, we'll want to do a margin bottom this time of 1em. That way we're matching the top. And everything's perfectly spaced all the way around. Look at that. We are looking good. Making progress. Now if we jump back here, we've still got our hello world in there. Let's do something a little more interesting. Let's make a nice button instead of just boring hello world. Make a nice connect button. Why not? Everyone loves the connect button. There we go. Click, click, click. We've got our connect button. If we pop back over to our style sheet, we can start making our button look a little more interesting. And since it's our only button, we can just go ahead and address the the button tag specifically. We can say, what do we want to do here? We'll do a padding of 0.5 em on the top and bottom. And then we can do 1em on the left and right. There we go. That looks nice. What else can we do? Feel free to style these however you want. I'm just kind of showing you my process. We'll do a background color. Boy. Maybe we just do an RGB 255, 255, 255, and 0.2. There we go. Just a almost fully transparent background on it. And then we can do a border of 1 pixel. We'll make it solid. And what color do we want? Maybe we just do the same white value here, but we'll just raise the opacity a little bit on it. Just enough that we know that, that it's separate from the background. Oh, now we can't see anything. Because our background's way too white, so we need to change that. Let's adjust our overall background color here. That way our eyes won't bleed, because it is rather bright. So we can go to our parent container and we can say background color. What do we want to do? We could do an Alice blue. No, still not dark enough. Maybe here. That's going to be way too dark. Yeah, ooh, gross. We don't want that. That's go away. Maybe here? Still a little too dark. We're getting closer. There we go. That's not bad. The button stands out. We can see it. That's better. That'll do. And then, let's see what now. Maybe a border radius. Maybe we can do a border radius of 50em. That's going to give us a nice little pill shape. Perfect. And then what next? Maybe a font size? Maybe do a font size of 1 rem. That should look good. Yeah, font size 1 rem. Perfect. Nice big juicy button. Everyone loves a big button. What next? Why don't we do our hover states? We can do button, hover, and we can say button active. This will be when we click on it. And we could probably just do a nice transition of 1/3 of a second. Tends to always work really well for me. And we can say transform, translate Y, -4 pixels. When we do this, now when we hover on it, you see our button will move up. Nice little hover animation. And when it's active, I like to go in, we'll take our transform and we'll just copy paste that in and we'll make it +4 pixels. That way when we click on it, you can see it moves up and down. Isn't that nice? That's just fun. I could click that button all day long. What else should we add? Let's maybe do a box shadow. And we can do, I don't know, 0 pix, 30 pix, and do to a color of, not white, to a color of black. Yeah, nice little shadow. And then we're going to want to add some blur to it, so we can say 3 pixels and 10 pixels. There we go. Now things are happening. And feel free to adjust these numbers however you see, whatever you think looks good. We're just having fun here. We're just kind of playing with some arbitrary numbers. There we go. Take that down to 5. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And we can animate our shadow too, which is always fun, to make it look like it's really coming up and down off of our background. So let's grab our box shadow. Let's put it in active. And we can just change our 5 to a, maybe we leave the 5, and we'll just change our blur to 5. That way when we click on it, oops, did I get those backwards? I might have. I always get these backwards. My dyslexia kicks in. Maybe 1 pixel? Will that work? Yeah, there we go. Now we can see our shadow shrinking down as it gets closer to our background as it looks. Maybe do 1 pixel there. Let's just do 0. Really exaggerate it. Yeah, that looks good. Click, 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 click. I love it. Fantastic. Love when a plan comes together. And then we can also, whenever we hover, we can say, instead of 5, we'll do 15 pixels. That way, they'll kind of spread out as we hover over it, and we can really lower that opacity to make it look like it's getting further and further away from the background. And maybe even bring it down a little more. That might be too much. Maybe 0.05? Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That'll work. Very good. What else should we do, friends? This has been a fun one. You gotta love a good React application. Maybe we can adjust our shadow a little more. Yeah. Yeah, no, I think that'll work. That'll work nicely. Now that I think about it, let's go ahead and do a glass. Yeah, everyone loves some good glass morphism. So we'll just go ahead and we'll do a class of glass. And we'll just drop in our good old glass styling that we love to use here on this channel. Let's just put the cherry on top of this bad boy. We'll need to go in and we'll need to add the class to our HTML tags. There we go. Looking good. We'll copy this. We'll put it on section and on the footer as well. There we go. Fantastic. Now we need to go up to our nav bar and we can say padding of 1em. Beautiful. Now that's looking just great. We can go to our, you know what, let's pull padding out of there because we can just put it actually right up there with our width, can't we? In our nav section and footer, because we want to apply it to all 3 of them. There we go. Perfect. Now we can go down to our section, and here we need to do kind of a special class. We can say flex, we're going to do a flex grow of 1. There we go. So if you can see, it's going to fill up that space in between our header and our footer. And we'll just whack a little margin of 1em on here just to give it some breathing room. Fantastic. That looks great. And last but not least, maybe we can do something with our A tags here, just so that we know when we're hovering over them, or let the users know that there's some sort of interactivity there. We can just kind of, we'll just adjust the font color here a little bit, so that when they hover, and we'll just kind of lower the opacity. And you can see, yeah, there we go. Now the user knows that there's some interactivity there when they hover over them. They don't just, it's not just words at the top of the screen. Fantastic. Just little cues like this to let the users know that there's something there that they can do is always nice. Little visual confirmation. Looking good. We can also do our transform -4 pix, similar to what we did with the button, just to add a little more animation to them. But since we haven't actually put a transition property in our A tags, it's going to be quite abrupt. So we'll do an A tag, and we'll do a transition of 0.3 seconds. Beautiful. Now if we hover over them, it's not quite as abrupt. Do a text decoration of underline as well. Bring back, and now whenever we hover over them, you can see our little underline will show up. I don't know if I like that or not. I'm just kind of showing you guys some options that you can do in these hover states to provide a little more interactivity. And that is it, my friends. This has been a fun tutorial. I hope you've learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, be sure to leave me a comment or reach out to me directly on Twitter or wherever you can find me on the socials. Until next time, bye everybody.